Making video games is hard, and despite how easy it looks making visual novels, it's still pretty difficult. So what better way to learn Eroge game development than from the real pros, through practical experience? Hi, my name is August, and let me tell you about an iconic classic, a very spicy title, the Eroge about making Eroge. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, this story sounds like something you would find straight out of an adult scenario playbook. What better way to make spicy romance than to use your own real-life experience? Don't know how to pose a character in a certain way? Having trouble writing how it feels to take it up the butt? Need an audio sample of a gluck gluck gluck? Why not? Use your own body as models and references. Add in a fellow willing assistant or a seasoned expert, and you can be sure to get some rock-solid results. I'm not fooling anyone though, it's a very cliche scenario, feeling like it satisfies the bare minimum of I want story with my scenes. But you'll be glad to know, here, the developers also decided to turn it into a very educational experience. That is, showing the process of Eroge development. Our main character, Tomoya, dreams of getting a job at an Eroge company in hopes of creating what he loves. Luckily for him, he spots a help wanted poster for the studio Flower, and he succeeds in getting the job. But his dream appears to be short-lived as he learns that their company is on the verge of bankruptcy after the massive failure of their previous game. And the worst part of it all, their developers haven't played a single Eroge. So it's up to him to teach the girls what makes a game good, taking them into his own hands as an experienced Eroge consultant. That last part sounds honestly ridiculous, but to them, if it makes for a good game and it means staying off the streets, sucking that schlong is going to be damn worth it, because that's what you call professionalism? There's plenty of fun scenarios to do, every one of them befitting the unique personalities of the heroines. We have the prideful, cocky illustrator Kisara, the caring and yet man-hating scenario writer Momoka, the silent, stoic graphic artist Iori, and the very not convincing but totally legal age 32-year-old company president Nene. At first, they're reluctantly accepting of the feedback, and then things begin to get spicier and steamier, very proactive in their research. Some scenes are normal enough, and then it starts escalating just a bit too much. I came in expecting vanilla H scenes, but then they went slightly too extreme for my taste. Sure, everything is fine at first, and then Scat and BDSM enters the building, and I'm like, hold up a minute, I didn't ask for this. It's worse seeing it and then reading it in retrospect. I'll get to see our couple enjoy a nice, wholesome sunset walk on the beach, only for them to say, it felt really good when you peed in my mouth. And I'm like, no, not now. Each character has their own individual fixations and quirks, and the H scenes, unfortunately, and perfectly matches their freakiness, basking in all of its glory. And then they have the bold audacity to say, well, that was great reference material. Tell me, if a coworker wants to have sex with you for the purposes of research into making a sex game, is she into you? No, she's just really dedicated to the craft. Absurdly tacky situations aside, they really are doing their best at developing their game, and themselves at the same time. There's actually some genuine development in here. Granted, it's not anything too special, but it's more than I honestly expected. And there's some pretty cute scenes in here once the relationship is established. Once you look past the spicy scenes, you can see a heartfelt feeling within this visual novel, in the form of what these guys are trying to do together. This may be an Eroge company, but if you really think about it, it's basically like any other indie game studio. Small team, barely a budget, and if the game flops, that's game over for them. It feels like they are quite practically living game to game, surviving off of home-packed lunches and cup ramen. They can't even turn on their AC in the summer because doing so will trip the breaker and make them lose all their data. They even got the typical real-life game development quirks too. Crunch time to finish the game before its release date? Sounds to me like sleepless nights and pizza delivery. This small studio is truly putting everything on the line, and when their only hope is making a rough play hentai title, you know things are bad. And yet, that's its greatest story appeal. Our protagonist came in here with nothing. No drawing skills, no programming ability, just a man who's fapped to one too many fun bag fantasy games. But he's here to help in any way he can, offering his support to guide his coworkers to make a great game. Dude's got an iron will, commitment, and a genuine passion for Eroge, and that itself is admirable. And even going without pay too? That's where I respect him the most. To where I could care less if he's smogging and eventually dating his coworkers on the side. I mean, they don't have an HR department, so. Cheating is a big no-no though. Eroge, sex and games make sexy games may be a tacky premise with cliche characters, but honestly, we weren't here for the story in the first place. It just so happened that we ended up getting a pretty heartfelt one anyway, while slightly being educated at the same time. And I think that's a merit worth remembering about, in addition to its plentiful and varied H scenes. If you like this title, you'll be glad to know that there's plenty more where this came from. However, if you're looking for a more spicier title, I recommend checking this video out. Thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting me and covering visual novel content. You guys are fantastic, and if you would like to be a part of that effort, please consider subscribing. And one final note, I would rather go bankrupt than make a scat scene. Just putting that out there.